The anime begins with a pink-haired girl waiting for someone and with a boy named Yukinari, a short boy with a cute face, who has always been by girls, so he now breaks out in hives when a girl approaches him. Fortunately, his father had to move because of his job and his mother left with him, so Yukinari lives alone. His house is the only place he can be in peace. One day, he returns home and finds a girl in his bathroom. She is Kiri, his neighbor. It turns out that her bathtub broke and she uses Yukinari's, but he forgot it and saw her only using a towel. She accuses him of being a but he assures her that he is not interested in her body because he is scared of girls. Kiri gets very offended and hits him so hard that Yukinari falls into the bathtub full of water. Suddenly, the water swallows him while he can't stop thinking why all the girls treat him roughly, and he wonders if there are any sweet girls out there who treat him kindly. When he gets out of the bathtub, he realizes that he is not in his bathtub, but in a larger one, and not only that, a pink-haired girl without clothes is happy to see him, saying that she has waited a long time for him. When he wakes up, the pink-haired girl tells him that she is Miharu, and he doesn't understand why his rash hasn't exploded like it always does. Then Miharu begins to offer him all kinds of food that he doesn't recognize, and he soon realizes that he is not in Japan, and maybe not on Earth either. Miharu is surprised to learn that he comes from Earth, and tells him that they are in Siren, the blue forest, and in the sky. They can see the Earth in the distance. After that, Yukinari sits down to eat Saren's food and bitterly thinks that there is nothing for him on Earth. On the other hand, Miharu seems like a sweet girl and could easily stay there to live. Suddenly, a tall red-haired girl walks in and is surprised to see him. She is Miharu's older sister. Unlike Miharu, Yukinari immediately breaks out in rashes when Miharu hugs him so tightly that he turns blue. Fortunately, Miharu saves him and takes him outside, but that's the worst thing she could have done because it turns out that Saren has a 90% female population. There are so few men that some women have never seen one in their lives. When the women see Yukinari, they start chasing him. They want to marry him and give him love, but he and Miharu run away. Soon they are surrounded by a horde of women and Miharu's forehead begins to glow, causing an explosion of pink smoke that unfortunately sends Yukinari flying away. When he wakes up, he is back in Miharu's bathroom and she tells him that when her bathtub shined in the past, she used to look at him and yearn for him. But now the bathtub shines and shows Kiri crying with regret for all the mistreatment of Yukinari, so he decides to return to Earth. Miharu accepts his decision and takes off her clothes as she thinks that if they bathe together, he will be teleported to Earth again. Suddenly, Miharu's forehead begins to glow and they appear in the tub of Yukinari's bathroom on Earth. Kiri is happy to see him, but when she notices the pink-haired girl without clothes behind him, she kicks him indignantly and leaves. Days later, Yukinari, Kiri, and Miharu still have not figured out how to return the pink-haired girl to Saren, although she is not too worried since she likes spending time with Yukinari and loves Earth food. Before leaving for school, Yukinari promises to bring her curry bread for her to try since both are her favorite food. Later, Miharu gets bored of being alone at home since she finished all the snacks, so she decides to go find Yukinari's school. She walks happily through the city until she arrives at a vegetable store, and when the seller sees her looking at the bananas, he gives her one of them. Then he starts to tell her why he decided to open a vegetable shop, and without realizing it, Miharu eats the entire box of bananas. Before leaving, the man tells her where the city's high school is. Meanwhile, at school, Yukinari already wants to return home because he wants Miharu to try the curry bread he bought her, but Kiri is fighting with Fukuyama, the rich and boy of the class, since he thinks he is better than the others, but Kiri lists the qualities of her friend Yukinari. Then Fukuyama tries to kiss her, and she throws him into the window, breaking the glass, which is a usual thing at school, and beats him up. Suddenly, Yukinari sees Miharu through the window and runs down to her. She apologizes for looking for him, but he realizes that she was feeling alone. All this is heard by Fukuyama, who cannot believe that there is a pretty girl at school that he does not know. So he runs and takes Miharu in his arms to show her his favorite part of school, the girls' bathrooms. Yukinari runs and chases them, but it was all a trap so that he is locked in a girl's locker room, and they start beating him. This makes Miharu sad because it's all her fault. Suddenly, her forehead starts to glow and a pink explosion leaves all the girls unconscious and she and Yukinari manage to escape. Days later, Miharu is very excited because today is her first day at school, so she wakes up Yukinari early telling him that she already prepared breakfast even though she ate almost all of it. It turns out that Fukuyama used his influence to get the school principal to accept Miharu without asking many questions. While Yukinari enjoys her meager breakfast, Miharu tries to put on her school uniform, but it is very difficult and ends up being left without clothes in front of him. At that moment, Kiri enters the house and misinterprets the situation and hits him. On the way to school, Kiri feels guilty about his injury, so she gives him a handkerchief and Miharu gives him a keychain as a gift to make him feel better. Suddenly, Yukinari bumps into a blonde girl who immediately hugs him, causing him to break out in hives. She says that he is her destined soul, since according to Mabenya, a fortune teller, she would find love in a boy who has a bandage on his face, a handkerchief, and a keychain. When the girl realizes that her soulmate has escaped, she vows to find him and tasks 2 of her lackeys with bringing him to her. Later at school, Fukuyama thinks that he knows who hugged Yukinari this morning. Suddenly, the blonde girl's lackeys throw smoke bombs into Yukinari's classroom and kidnap him, but Fukuyama realizes who they are and goes after them. Her 2 lackeys give her Yukinari and tell her about his hives, and the blonde girl named Lisa says that she will cure him. At that moment, Fukuyama and the girls enter to stop Lisa, since she is his little sister, and the lackeys are Hayat and Kosem, the bodyguards who have taken care of her since she was an infant. She says that she is going to celebrate a marriage ceremony right now using a black magic pentagram, and since her brother wants to stop her, she summons a giant black hand from the pentagram using her black magic book that protects them from them. When she is about to kiss Yukinari, Miharu's forehead lights up and a pink explosion stops the ceremony, but the black hand goes out of control and attacks Yukinari. After that, they take him to the infirmary and Kiri tells Lisa to leave her friend alone. Since a relationship between them would never work because of his fear of girls, the only one who can be close to him is Miharu. Hours later, when Yukinari wakes up, he is taken under threat by Kosem to the cooking club room, where Lisa is waiting for him with a banquet prepared by her. She says that she has an idea how to cure him of his phobia of women, so she quickly takes off her clothes and invites Yukinari to touch her, but he runs away as fast as he can. At home, he finds Miharu asleep since she prepared dinner for him and she fell asleep waiting for him. That moves him, so he sits down to eat with her. Although again, the food is little because she eats all while cooking. The next day, Kiri sees Miharu in an elegant limousine, and when she enters Yukinari's house, she finds him in a depressed state because he thinks that the pink-haired girl abandoned him and returned to Saren. But Kiri tells him that's not true since she saw Miharu in a limo, and the only rich person they know is Fukuyama. They go to his house and are surprised to see that he lives in a huge mansion. Unfortunately, the maid Ririka only lets Kiri in because Fukuyama can't be around men. Yukinari then uses a ladder to enter through a wall, but he falls into the garden maze and is soon chased by the maids who protect the mansion. Meanwhile, Kiri can't believe that Fukuyama's mansion has so much technology to be used, because when she got into the elevator, many X-ray machines scanned her body to show her body without clothes to Fukuyama, so she in a fit of anger destroys all those machines. Then Kiri stops following Ririka and decides to look for Miharu on her own, but she only finds several rooms with strange things like mannequins without clothes or closets full of lewd clothes. Suddenly, she sees Miharu wearing a maid outfit, but when she's about to talk to her, she crashes into another door and faints. When she wakes up, she is wearing and runs to look for Fukuyama, who's barely alive since he found the basket of bentos that Kiri had prepared for Yukinari. He won't stop vomiting and he asks Kiri for one last wish. He wants her to nurse him wearing a tight nursing outfit, and she accepts. Fukuyama tries to touch her several times, but she threatens to hit him, which makes him vomit more. Suddenly, Kiri sees a ghost and Lisa comes in apologizing because an exorcism spell went wrong and the ghosts fly away, but she will soon solve it. Unfortunately, that is not the case since more ghosts appear and Fukuyama puts a maiden shrine outfit on Kiri so that she can scare them away, but she refuses and tries to escape. When she leaves the room, she runs into Kasane, who takes her to another room and climbs on top of her, taking off her clothes since she fell in love with her the first time she saw her. Suddenly, Fukuyama enters with many ghosts surrounding him. He wants his nurse back, so Kiri escapes from this crazy family, and on the way she meets Miharu. It turns out that Miharu works part-time at the mansion because she eats a lot, and that is not good for Yukinari's finances, although it seems that this also caused problems for them. Kiri tells her that it is not like that and takes her to Yukinari's house so they can eat the bentos she made since they think he's home. What they don't know is that poor Yukinari is still trying to escape the mansion's labyrinth. Days later, while Yukinari and Miharu are at school, a girl appears in the bathtub at their house. When they and Kiri return home, they are completely soaked from the rain, so the girls enter the bathroom and find a girl passed out. Then, Yukinari carries her in his arms to her living room, even though it gives him hives. Later, the girl wakes up scared because she had a dream about a faceless man, her father. When she sees Yukinari, she gets so scared that she starts throwing everything she has on hand at him and hides in the cupboard. After the girls calm her down, she tells them that her name is Koyomi and she doesn't remember anything about her past, although seeing the emblem on her clothes triggers flashbacks, which make her headache. Suddenly, Fukuyama appears and immediately falls in love with Koyomi and tries to make them believe that they are lovers, but Kiri does not believe him and punches him. So much scares Koyomi, so she runs away from the house. She walks in the rain not knowing where to go until she sees a child and his mother, and that triggers her flashbacks again. Suddenly, she bumps into a big man and his lackey asks her for compensation for bothering his boss. Fortunately, Yukinari and the girls find her and save her from those guys. But not only do they arrive, Fukuyama too and scares Koyomi, who runs away from him again, and everyone chases her. The chase is so extreme that Koyomi doesn't mind fleeing over the cars, and neither does Fukuyama, so Kiri tells Maru and Yukinari to split up to catch them separately. Elsewhere, Koyomi hides in a sewer and manages to lose sight of Fukuyama. She walks aimlessly in the rain until she sits in a park and is found by Yukinari. She gets scared when she sees him, and that makes her remember things from her childhood. It turns out that her father was from Earth and always told her stories about his homeland that made her want to visit Earth one day. Suddenly, Fukuyama arrives and Yukinari touches him to give him hives so he can escape with Koyomi. He takes her hand and also breaks out in hives. Seeing 3 little dots on his neck, which reminds her of the star marks on Miharu's forehead, she finally remembers that she is on a search mission. She has 36 hours to find Miharu and bring her back to Saren. If she doesn't complete her mission in time, she could be trapped on Earth forever. At that moment, Fukuyama catches up with them and wants to take Koyomi again, but Kiri appears and knocks him out. When Koyomi sees Miharu, the last piece of the puzzle of her memory falls into place. The next day, Koyomi is tasked her in her room since she has 12 hours left to complete her mission, since it was requested by Miharu at the Space Management Bureau. At that moment, Yukinari enters the room and tells Koyomi that he already knows that she comes from Saren because of the talk they had yesterday about her father. She tells him that she has come from Miharu, although she has doubts about taking her back home because it is obvious that they love each other. The hours pass, and the 4 of them spend a pleasant day full of laughter and lots of food made by Miharu. At night, Koyomi changes her clothes and prepares to return to Saren, and she's surprised when Miharu and Yukinari tell her that the pink-haired girl has decided to return to Saren as well. The 3 of them go to the bathroom, and the bathtub begins to shine while Yukinari and Miharu say goodbye holding hands. Back in Saren, Miharu is hugged by Miharu who can't stop, while Koyomi is congratulated by Chief Nane, since she completed her first mission successfully. The next day on Earth, Yukinari is sad about Miharu's departure, and disappointment overcomes him when Fukuyama says that Miharu left because he is useless and not worth it. Meanwhile, in Saren, Miharu keeps breaking the dishes because her head is somewhere else. In the afternoon, Koyomi goes to talk to Miharu about Miharu, and the red-haired girl says that she knows her sister can't stop thinking about that Earthling boy. So she calls her sister and tells her to be selfish for once, to go for what she wants, and that lights up Miharu, who says out loud that she wants to be with Yukinari. Then her forehead starts to glow and she runs to her bathtub. Later, Koyomi goes to Chief Nane's office and she tells her that an unauthorized teleportation has been detected, but she won't do anything because this time there is no search request. Meanwhile, on Earth, Yukinari is still sad about Miharu's departure, and there is nothing Kiri can do to cheer him up. When he returns home, he hears Miharu's voice and can't believe she's back, so the 2 tear up a little until Kiri comes in with Koyomi, and she says that they didn't come alone. A petted girl named Tomo has come too. It turns out that the 3 girls came to Earth with a mission to find a husband for Miharu. Yukinari thinks it will be a difficult task, but Tomo says that she is an elite officer and brought the necessary tools to complete her mission. But when she opens her backpack, an unknown shrimp comes out of it. Miharu wants to use it for dinner, so the shrimp runs away from her in terror, although they later become friends and she names it Ebi. The next day, the search for a husband for Miharu begins, but the first difficulty is Koyomi's shyness. Her experience with Fukuyama has made her afraid of men. The other 3 comfort her, but Tomo scolds her, saying that they have to complete the mission and arrogantly says that she will be able to find a husband for Miharu first. Kiri doesn't want to be left behind and tells Koyomi that she has an idea to attract many men and choose one for Miharu. All this is seen by Lisa, who is jealous of Koyomi, and asks her bodyguard to bring her information about that girl. Later, Lisa watches the 3 girls pose on some motorcycles for sale, and the photographers go crazy taking photos. According to Hayat's report, Koyomi is looking for a groom, so Lisa thinks it's best to attack her weak point, her fear of men. Then Hayat posts Koyomi's photo online saying that she will agree to dress however the client wants and fulfill his fantasies. Meanwhile, Tomo sits on a bench crying fakely because she wants to get a man to go with her to Saren, and many men volunteer to go with her, until they read about Koyomi and go looking for her. Soon, all those men surround Koyomi asking her to wear different outfits. Everything is seen by Lisa, who has just found out that the groom Koyomi is looking for is for another girl, so she prefers to leave things as they are and run away. Hours later, Yukinari and the girls return home and Koyomi feels very bad about everything that happened, so Miharu advises her to go take a bath to get rid of the sadness. Meanwhile, Tomo runs into a possible candidate for Miharu. He tells her that he will go wherever she wants, and Tomo takes him to Yukinere's house, and without asking, the two enter the bathroom. The guy turns out to be Fukuyama, who immediately hugs Koyomi and doesn't want to let her go. So Tomo jumps into the bathtub too, and the three of them are teleported to Saren. They arrive at Miharu's big bathtub, and Tomo happily informs her that she found a future husband for her. But Miharu doesn't like Fukuyama at all, because he doesn't stop hugging Koyomi, so she punches them and teleports them back to Earth. Days later, Miharu is excited because the next day they will do chemical experiments at school, and she thinks they are experiments with food, but Yukinere clarifies that the experiments are not edible and she has to be very careful tomorrow. The next day, while Yukinere and Kiri fight as always, Miharu feels attracted to a liquid and decides to try it, and since she finds it delicious, she drinks it all and passes out. Yukinere and Kiri run to help her, and fortunately she wakes up quickly, and it turns out that what she drank is alcohol. Then she starts to sneeze and small explosions of pink smoke fill the place. When the smoke clears, hundreds of Miharas appear, which makes Fukuyama happy, but when he tries to hug one of them, she disappears. They first start touching the fake Miharas to eliminate them, but they continue to multiply, so Yukinere and Kiri go in search of the original Naru. Soon the entire school is flooded with thousands of Miharas, and Yukinere says he knows how to find the original one, and when he finally sees her, he thinks she entered the women's changing room, but he gets wrong and the girls start beating him. Meanwhile, Fukuyama and Kiri go to the vegetable store that Miharu loves so much, but are shocked when they see that the entire shopping district was devastated by thousands of Miharas. Then Yashichi, the banana seller, tells them that Miharu's horde is going to the supermarket, so he guides them through the sewers to get there faster than them. When they arrive, Yashichi instructs all the vendors how to protect the supermarket, but that is not enough, and Miharu's horde manages to enter and begin to eat everything. Then Fukuyama designates himself as a hero and begins to hug all the Miharu he can grab, decreasing their number. After that, he puts on a banana suit and jumps into the horde, and just as he expected, all the Miharus rush at him. Meanwhile, Yukinere finds the real Miharu asleep in a park. She tells him about a strange dream she had where there were many Miharus, and he tells her that everything is fine now. Sometime later, they go to the supermarket and see a golden statue of a guy wearing a banana suit, which was named in honor of the hero Fukuyama. Days later, Kiri and Tomo fight for who controls the TV, since Kiri and Miharu want to watch the Japanese soccer game, while Tomo wants to watch the Magical Girls series. Yukinere intervenes in the fight and Kiri punches him in the face, sending him flying into the television, causing it to break. Tomo complains that they don't treat her with respect when in Saren she's a person distinguished for having magical powers. For example, she can transform things. Then Tomo takes Ebi and transforms it into an adorable little girl, who immediately captures the hearts of others, so Tomo gets jealous and wants to turn her back into a shrimp. Ebi refuses and runs to the door and runs into Lisa, who came to visit them. Tomo tells Lisa to hand over the little girl, but the blonde sees that she is scared and casts a black magic spell, which makes a huge tree grow inside the house, and she takes Ebi to her secret basement. It turns out that when Lisa was a little girl, she didn't have friends, so she played alone until she found an abandoned basement with a bunch of black magic books. She tried several times to give life to her doll Ellie, until one day she succeeded. Back in the present, Fukuyama enters Lisa's basement and immediately hugs Ebi, so Lisa activates a protective pentagram and an explosion blows up the place, giving her time to escape with Ebi. Later, Yukinere and the girls arrive at Lisa's mansion and find the employees cleaning Lisa's basement, and Tomo finds a photo of Lisa and Ellie, the doll from many years ago, and the employees explain that Ellie's soul disappeared sometime after Lisa gave her life. After that, everyone goes looking for Lisa and finds her in a park where she used to watch other children play. Lisa is happy to have Ebi since she reminds her of Ellie, but she is soon interrupted by Tomo, who challenges her to a magic duel. Tomo summons giant insects that attack Lisa, but she defends herself using pentagrams and eliminates the insects quickly. Suddenly, Fukuyama appears and tries to grab Ebi, but she breaks free of him and falls into the soul-disintegrating pentagram. Luckily, Ellie the doll shows up and saves her. It turns out that Tomo had brought Lisa's doll back to life because she thinks she won the magic duel and offers her hand as a sign of friendship. Days later, the girls are excited about tomorrow's trips as Yukinere won a trip for 5 people to a hot spring. But when he and the girl arrive, they are disappointed because the inn looks in very bad condition from the outside. But when they enter, everything is pleasant. Unfortunately, the innkeeper tells them that the hot springs dried up at the beginning of the year, and now she raises bananas and alligators as a tourist attraction, although she recommends that they go bathing in a nearby river in the mountains. The girls have fun playing in the water, except Yukinari because Kiri accused him of being a pepping Tom and blindfolded him. Suddenly, many strange things happen at once. A headless mannequin appears in the river. Koyomi finds a skull and Kiri touches a red liquid from a tree. All the girls flee in fear following Kiri, who runs senselessly. Hours later, Yukinari and the girls continue wandering through the mountain until they come across a huge inn, and to everyone's surprise, Lisa and Fukuyama are there. It turns out that the mountain belongs to them and everything strange makes sense. The mannequin is from Fukuyama, the red liquid was strawberry jam put on the trees to catch beetles, and the skull is Lisa's. She uses it to read love fortunes. Then Fukuyama gets mysterious and says that the girls can enjoy the hot springs, although Lisa wants to make a point, but Fukuyama tells her that she can stay with Yukinari, and that makes her shut up about it. After that, Tomo gets clouded playing video games. Kiri, Koyomi, and Miharu go to take off their clothes, while Yukinari is tied to a chair by Lisa, who begins to caress him. Fukuyama is ecstatically watching the girls through the cameras when suddenly they start screaming. Lisa, Fukuyama, and Yukinari run to see what's going on and encounter a ghost girl who has been haunting the mountain since last year. She was waiting for a molester to help her free her soul, and she has chosen Yukinari. It turns out that she is to blame for the hot springs drying up because last year a molester was spying on her while she was bathing, and when she tried to push him, she slipped and hit her head very hard and passed away. So she thinks that if she recreates the situation, she will be able to rest in peace because she will forgive the molester. Lisa thinks it's a great idea and offers her body to the ghost for her to possess, but the ghost ends up entering Kiri's body. Then the ghost Kiri hugs Yukinari and asks him to do something inappropriate with her body, but he just hugs her, and for the ghost, that's enough. Her soul ascends to heaven and thanks everyone for their help and wishes Kiri luck because she was able to sense her feelings for Yukinari. The next day, Yukinari and the girls return to their inn since the ghost girl is gone and the hot springs have returned to normal. They relax by bathing, trying to forget what happened yesterday, but Koyomi feels downcast. Later, while Tomo and Yukinari are fishing, Kiri goes to talk to Koyomi and she confesses that she feels uncomfortable about Fukuyama since he is always chasing her, but Kiri promises that she will beat him up if he comes near her. What they don't know is that Lisa and Fukuyama have a secret plan to interfere in their lives again. At night, the girls bathe in the women's section of the hot spring, while Yukinari bathes in the men's section. But suddenly, the big rock that separated them disappears and Kiri thinks that this was Yukinari's doing. So she gets him really hard, but Lisa appears in the hot springs and hugs Yukinari. Then Fukuyama reveals to them that he owns the inn and wants the hot springs to be mixed. Kiri gets angry and challenges him to a ping-pong duel. If she wins, he will return the rock that divides the hot springs and stay away from Miharu and Koyomi. But if Fukuyama wins, Kiri will have to be a human brush and wash his body. Unfortunately, Kiri loses miserably because Fukuyama is helped by her sister's powers, so she begs Fukuyama to play again. And he accepts, but adds the condition that in addition to being his human brush, she will be his maid, and Kiri reluctantly accepts. But Fukuyama decides that Yukinari will be his opponent this time, and since he is still weak from Kiri's punching, Fukuyama chooses Koyomi so that the two of them can try to defeat him. She bravely accepts because she wants to do something for others, but Fukuyama isn't done. He says that if he wins, he will eat sushi from Koyomi's body, and that emboldens her even more to win. The match begins and Yukinari is knocked out instantly, so it all depends on Koyomi. To everyone's surprise, Koyomi is an expert player since in Saren, there is a game similar to ping pong, and she is the world champion. Fukuyama doesn't want to lose, so he starts complimenting her obscenely, and that disconcerts her so much that the match is being won by him now. Then Kiri then advises her to imagine that the ball is Fukuyama's face, and that works so well that Koyomi scores the tie. The last point will be the decisive one, and Koyomi continues imagining that the balls are Fukuyama, and she hits them fiercely, winning the match. At night, Fukuyama is tied up and made to bathe away from the hot springs, while the girls enjoy themselves without him, including Lisa since she refused to help her brother at the last point. Days later, classes start again and Miharu and Kiri are delighted to be in the pool, while Yukinari is not having such a good time since he slipped and fell in a group of girls, causing them all to slap him on the face, and he ends up tripping against some strange poles next to the pool, and everyone wonders what they are for. Suddenly, the class is interrupted by Fukuyama. He says that the swimming teacher will not come, and he takes the opportunity to convert the school pool into a resort pool, since his family paid for the renovation of the pool. Fukuyama then expels all the male students while giving the girls bikinis and takes Miharu away to put one on her himself. Kiri does not sit idly and rides a jet ski to save her friend and ends up crashing into them. Miharu falls on top of Yukinari and Fukuyama on the strange poles. He gets so angry that he pulls out a pole and is about to hit them, but Yukinari tackles him and they both fall into the pool with the pole. Suddenly, the water begins to glow, and when both boys wake up, they notice that something strange is happening. The two change bodies. While Yukinari is in Fukuyama's body and is hit by Kiri because she doesn't believe he's Yukinari. Yukinari then starts acting like Fukuyama, asking Miharu to play with him in the pool, but Fukuyama uses the excuse that he can only touch Miharu, and Miharu believes him, leaving the real Yukinari in tears as he sinks to the bottom of the pool. All this is seen by Lisa, who can't wait to have Yukinari in her house to give him love, since she was the one who put a body-swapping pentagram at the bottom of the pool that is activated with the strange poles. After that, Kiri starts to notice that her friend is acting strange and gets angry when Fukuyama and Yukinari's body touches her, and becomes even more suspicious when she realizes that he didn't break out in hives, so she uses one of the poles to hit him. That activates the pentagram, and now Fukuyama is in Kiri's body and Kiri is in Yukinari's body. She thinks it's all the blonde's fault, so she hits him with the pole and they switch bodies again. Suddenly, many body-changing poles start to fall from the sky and everyone changes bodies again. Now Miharu is in Yukinari's body, Fukuyama is in Miharu's body, Yukinari is in Kiri's body, and Kiri is in Fukuyama's body. One of the poles teleported a giant star octopus, and Fukuyama uses Miharu's body to make the octopus grope the female body with its tentacles. Yukinari tries to save her, but since he is in Kiri's body, the octopus also grabs his female body. Miharu wants to save Yukinari, but if she uses her powers, they could get hurt. Fortunately, Leah arrives and destroys the octopus using her black magic staff. When everyone wakes up, everyone has returned to their bodies except Fukuyama, who ended up in a piece of wood. Days later, Fukuyama gives Yukinari and the girls tickets to go see a pro baseball game. Kiri is the most excited because she loves baseball. But when they reach their gate, Fukuyama appears and locks them in an elevator that takes them several underground floors and tells them that they will see girl fights. Fukuyama wants Kiri to participate in it, but she flatly refuses. Until he shows her a photo of her, Kiri can't believe he has it and decides to participate in the tournament so she can get her photo back. After that, she goes to the women's changing room and everyone wishes her good luck. She can't believe that she has to wear ridiculous outfits in every fight, although she wins them all because they are weak opponents, and now she is 2 more fights away from winning the tournament. Unfortunately, her next opponent is Kosame, and she is a brutal fighter. Yukinari gives her some tips on how to beat her, but those are useless because the fight will be in the mud, and not only that, Fukuyama sends Kiri's friends a lot of food so they can distract themselves from the fight. The fight begins and Kosame quickly throws Kiri into the mud to caress her as she pleases, and Kiri just runs away from her. Fortunately, Miharu sneezes and in pink explosion sends Kosame flying, leaving her out of the rink. Then Fukuyama calls last year's tournament champion, his personal maid Lilica. The two of them will face each other in a cage fight. And this time the fight is brutal. Lilica has no compassion and punches Kiri with everything. This is seen by Kosame, and she runs to prevent Lilica from giving Kiri a fatal blow. Kiri can't believe Kosame did that, and she angrily charges at Lilica, but she is knocked out instantly. When Kiri wakes up, she realizes that she lost but is only interested in knowing if Kosame is okay, and hugs her when she's awake, which makes Kosame very happy and she kisses Kiri. Meanwhile, Fukuyama considers Kiri as the winner of the fight and destroys her photo where a little Kiri is seen embarrassed for having wet her bed. Days later, Miharu reads a book about what to do on a first date, since she and Yukinari are going out alone and that is considered a date. She wants to buy and he accompanies her, but he didn't expect her to show him her body wearing. Then they go to a herbal store where she buys something aphrodisiac for him. Yukinari doesn't understand her strange behavior since he just wants to watch a movie, but she chose to watch a lewd one. And all this is seen by Kiri and a tied-up Fukuyama, although he tells her that his plan is going wonderfully because he was the one who gave her his book on how to have a hot date to Miharu. Kiri accuses him of wanting to sabotage their first date, and he says that she is right and advises her to be more honest with herself, since it is obvious that she is not happy with that date either. Meanwhile, Miharu opens up to Yukinari and tells him that she was following the advice of a book, and he tells her that there is no need for that since they just have to have a good time, and that's what they do. At the end of the date, Miharu takes out several lunchboxes prepared by herself and Yukinari eats them placidly, although it doesn't last long because Miharu begins to take off her clothes. Suddenly, Fukuyama appears and says that he will take the lunch basket as payment for the book and runs away. Yukinari gets angry and goes after him, telling Miharu to wait for him on the park benches. This is seen by Kiri, who also follows the boys. They reach an alley where they begin to fight over the basket of food, but Yukinari is very short and Fukuyama is very tall, so the fight is unequal. Then Kiri puts on a mask and defeats Fukuyama, giving the basket of food to Yukinari. He thanks her as if she were a stranger, even though he knows it's Kiri. Then he runs to the benches where he left Minoru, but she's not there, so he keeps looking for her. After that, she returns to the benches, but Yukinari is not there as he continues looking for her elsewhere. All this is seen by Kiri and a tied Fukuyama. He feels bad for having ruined the date so much and decides to call Yukinari, restricting his number to let him know that Minoru is on the park benches again. Finally, Yukinari returns to the park and hugs a happy Miharu. Days later at school, Miharu can't stop eating her favorite crab bread, but she drops the wrapper of one, and Mamoru, president of the cleaning committee, scolds her. He calls himself the cleanup ranger, and it really bothers him when students litter, so he carries a vacuum cleaner to do the job. But he also uses the vacuum cleaner to bother the girls and tries to vacuum Kiri's skirt. Then the new teacher arrives and takes him to the guidance office. It turns out that Mizujiri is a very strict teacher and famous for giving harsh scoldings to the students. Later, Miharu still feels guilty about the trash she threw away and goes to where Mamoru is serving his punishment and apologizes profusely and tells him that she wants to introduce him to someone who will help him clean more effectively. Then Miharu takes him to the Fukuyama mansion and introduces him to Lilica. For Miharu, the maid is a perfectionist in cleaning, and Mamoru agrees to take classes with her. Later in the evening, Lilica's training begins, although it is an aggressive one since she teaches him how to eliminate those who dirty the city. The next day, Miharu thinks that Mamoru will be a happy boy because he received lessons from Lilica, but instead he has become more aggressive, and the guitar he used to sing is now a weapon. Everything goes downhill when a bird on Mamoru. He gets so angry that he throws a tantrum using his bullet guitar, and all the students hide from him. Except Lisa, who is in the laboratory doing a spell to make Yukinari fall in love with her, but is interrupted by Mamoru. He scolds her for dirtying the laboratory and wants to use his guitar on her, but fortunately, he ran out of bullets due to the previous tantrum. Suddenly, the spell Lisa was casting goes wrong, and a keychain falls on it and grows to giant size. The giant keychain begins to destroy the school, and Mamoru uses his transmitter belt to bring in a giant ceramic raccoon via helicopter. But the plan goes wrong, and the ceramic raccoon falls in the schoolyard, and Lisa mocks him, saying that the president of the cleaning committee is the one who has made the most dirt. Then Mamoru runs away in shame, but runs into Lilica. She shows him her battle scars and tells him that he should not give up, because just as she defeated her enemies, he can also do so and become a hero. This emboldens Mamoru, and she gives him her broom to use as a wooden sword. Mamoru faces the giant keychain and bravely defeats it, causing the entire school to cheer for his victory. Days later, Tomo proposes to find a husband for Miharu, but Kiri suggests she go see a live show of her favorite Magic Girl series. Surely Tomo would love that, but she doesn't want to go because she thinks Kiri treats her like a little girl when she doesn't even know her powers. After that, Tomo runs into Fukuyama, who also sees her as a little girl, so he decides to accompany her to find a husband for Miharu. Although he also offers himself as a possible husband, and she hits him, remembering that he already made her look bad in front of Miharu once. On their way, they see Kiri meeting a boy who likes her, and then they see her going to visit a hospitalized boy who also likes her, and Fukuyama tells her that many boys like Kiri. Tomo thinks that she has powerful pheromones, since while they follow her, many men declare her love for Kiri. Then Tomo attacks them with her powers so that Kiri can escape from them, and Fukuyama says that she did it only to show her powers to Kiri. Tomo fervently denies that, and Fukuyama proposes her a plan. She will help Kiri get rid of all those guys, and he will help her to show Kiri that she is mature, but in reality, he plans to take credit for all the work. While Tomo accepts but plans to get rid of him and tell Kiri that only she protected her so that Kiri can give her a magical girl outfit. Throughout the day, Fukuyama and Tomo protect Kiri from the dangers of the city, since there are already many guys who want to touch her, or she puts herself in danger by helping children. In the afternoon, when everything is calm, Tomo says that it is time to tell her that they have been her saviors today, but with one last act of salvation. When Kiri leaves the convenience store, some gang members surround her, but Fukuyama appears to save her. But what he does not know is that Tomo paid them not to let themselves be defeated by him. So when Fukuyama attacks them, they beat him up, and it's Kiri who has to save him. After that, Kiri leaves and meets her friends. They tell her that Tomo hasn't come home, and it's about to rain, so everyone gets worried and splits up to look for her. Later, Tomo cries under a bridge because she doesn't know how to get home, but suddenly, Fukuyama appears and gives her his jacket to protect her from the cold. He tells her that everyone is looking for her and carries her on his back to take her home, and she thanks him, saying that he is a guy, but he is also kind, and tells her that Tomo tried all day to show her maturity, which moves her. Days later, Miharu accidentally breaks Yukinari's bathtub with her sneezes, which produced small explosions of pink smoke. The next day, Tomo wakes up Yukinari in a hurry because she saw that Mamoru and Koyomi left the house secretly. They follow them on the train until they get off at a cosplay convention where Tomo feels outraged because a guy is wearing the costume of her favorite magic girl, Poem, but Yukinari explains that everyone can wear whatever outfits they want. Suddenly, Yukinari bumps into someone with silver hair wearing a robe. He thinks that is a girl because he got hives on his hand. That unknown person mysteriously stays talking with Ms. Hijiri. After that, Yukinari and Tomo meet up with the girls and Mamoru tells them that they are working part-time to pay for the bathtub that she broke last night. Then Kiri comes up with an evil plan. She tells Yukinari that they need one more girl and he agrees to wear the outfit that they are wearing. What Yukinari didn't know is that he has to be the MC of the event and he has to wear a silver wig because only a girl can be MC, and from now on he will be called Yukina. Later, the event begins and Yukinari is applauded by everyone. Even Fukuyama falls in love with him without knowing that Yukina is Yukinari. Then Kiri proposes that any guy who beats Yukina in arcade games wins a dream date with her, and Fukuyama challenges her. Yukinari doesn't want to accept, but Kiri tells him that Fukuyama owns the event and she lies that he will fire them if they don't do what he wants, so Yukinari accepts. The first game is a motorcycle race and Fukuyama gropes Yukinari so much that he loses. The second game is to dance following a pattern on the machine, but Yukinari must do it on Fukuyama and fortunately wins. The last game is to fight virtually using their bodies and Fukuyama wins by cheating, since he agreed with Kiri that he would win and he gives her an envelope with money. Finally, Fukuyama claims the prize and lovingly hugs Yukinari, but soon realizes that Yukina is a man and Kiri laughingly removes Yukinari's wig, celebrating that she made money at Fukuyama's expense. The next day, Tomo is bored and wants to going out, but the girls explain to her that they have no money and Kiri suggests playing an Earth card game. Soon Tomo becomes frustrated because she loses every round. Suddenly, Fukuyama appears and says that he has an ancient family game mahjong, but not with basic rules, but with Fukuyama-style rules, since there are punishments such as wearing extravagant outfits or rub something. The rounds will be 3 players versus Fukuyama, and the first to face him are Koyomi, Hayate, and Tomo. They quickly lose, and as punishment, Tomo and Hayate must wear robot suits, while poor Koyomi must wear a live snake as clothing. The second round of players consists of Fukuyama, Kiri, Yukinari, and Mamoru. This time, the worst punishments go to Kiri and Fukuyama, who have to wear ridiculous outfits, while Mamoru is quite good and only rubs Yukinari, which she happily does. Then Lisa suggests taking a break and Yukinari takes the opportunity to go to the bathroom. There he is ambushed by Fukuyama and Kosenim. The blonde proposes to Yukinari to team up against Mamoru so that she loses and has to wear a cute outfit since they both want to see her wear one, and Yukinari blushes accepting his proposal. What Yukinari does not know is that this is Lisa's plan, since she will tell Mamoru everything so that she will fight with Yukinari and he will go crying into her arms. But the threats to Yukinari do not end yet. Koseim tells him that he must also play against Kiri or she will eliminate him. Meanwhile, outside, Hayate and Tomo fight using their robot outfits and Koyomi befriends the snake. After that, the game starts again and Yukinari collaborates with Fukuyama and Mamoru loses her first clothes while Kiri has to put on a lewd magical girl outfit. Tired of losing, Kiri decides to challenge Fukuyama to one last game. Whoever loses must wear a scandalous outfit and walk around the city, while Mamoru only wants to rub Yukinari. Fukuyama accepts the challenge and the game begins again. Suddenly, Tomo accidentally throws Ebi at Fukuyama and he misses his rigged dice, causing Kiri to become very angry and scolds the boys for being cheaters. Unfortunately, although Yukinari was threatened, he was also forced to wear a scandalous outfit and walk around the city alongside Fukuyama, Lisa, and Koseim. Days later, Fukuyama invites everyone to watch a movie in his private movie theater. This movie was filmed by them, and the protagonists are Kiri, Koyomi, Mamoru, and Fukuyama. In the movie, the girls are a gang of thieves called the Phantom Rabbits, and Fukuyama is the town detective. One night, the Rabbit girls break into Lisa's mansion and steal a gold mask, but they are chased by Fukuyama, so they have no choice but to throw the gold mask into the river. The next day, the girls open their cafe like every morning. Koyomi and Mamoru laugh at Detective Fukuyama, but Kiri defends him since she seems to be in love with him. Then, Fukuyama enters the cafe like every morning and tells the girls that a new crime has occurred. A new criminal has appeared. He calls himself Black Snow. Lisa, he will only return her if they give him the golden mask. Fukuyama tells them that he has all the information about Black Snow on a CD, and Koyomi flirts with him to take it away from him without him realizing it. At night, the Rabbit Phantoms go to where Lisa is kidnapped, but it was all a trap, and now Black Snow also trapped them in a cell. Lisa tells them that they are thieves just like Black Snow, but Miharu confesses that they only steal, they don't people, and they plan to get her out of there. They carry the vessel where Lisa is trapped and Koyomi manages to open the cell door. As they run through the castle looking for the exit, Miharu tells Lisa that they found her because they stole Detective Fukuyama's information CD. After that, they pass through a door and automatically remain stuck to the ground since it was all a trap. Lisa and Black Snow take off their masks and reveal their true identities, Fukuyama and Yukinari. Fukuyama makes them listen to Miharu's recorded confession and has a romantic moment with Kirien, where he asks her to become a good girl. Suddenly, Tomo appears and throws oil at the girls, and they finally manage to get off the ground and flee in a hot air balloon, but Fukuyama does not give up and hangs himself from the rope that sticks out of the hot air balloon. The balloon begins to fail because there is too much weight, and Fukuyama makes Kiri promise to become a police officer, and he lets go of the rope, falling into the void. Fortunately, he emerges unharmed. The next day, the girls go to see Fukuyama, and Kiri promises to become a police officer, and although they want to be together, the other girls get in the way because they also want to be his girlfriends. As soon as the movie ends, the complaints begin. Kiri swears that they hit him in the last scene. Days later is the school festival, and Miharu is excited because she has never been in one since in Saren there are only town festivals. When she and Yukinari leave, Tomo and Koyomi dress as students to go to the festival and find a husband for Miharu, and are in such a hurry that they don't pay attention to Ebi, who is trying to tell them that the bathtub is glowing. Meanwhile, in Siren, Miharu is bathing in her large bathtub missing her sister when suddenly the bathtub starts to glow and she is teleported to Earth. Mahara is very happy to be there and puts on only a towel to go out to find a husband. On the other hand, at school, Tomo and Koyomi enjoy the school festival, and when Lisa reads their fortune, she warns them to be careful, but Tomo is willing to enjoy it since Miharu's search for a husband was an excuse to come to the festival. Meanwhile, Yukinari's classroom put on a maid's cafe and ran out of bananas, so Kiri sends him to buy more. He goes to the shopping district and meets Miharu, who immediately hugs him, causing him to pass out from hives. When he wakes up, he buys her clothes and takes her to the school festival, where she meets Tomo and Koyomi enjoying the festival while they complain about Miharu and her obsession with finding a husband. That makes Miharu angry, so Tomo and Koyomi run away from her, but the redhead won't let them escape so easily and runs after her, grabbing boys in her path and discarding them when she sees that they are not suitable husbands. In the midst of escaping from her, Tomo throws Fukuyama and Mamoru at Miharu, but she punches them, increasingly angry with the girls. While the girls hide wondering how Miharu came to Earth, Koyomi sees Ms. Hijiri with two shiny crystal marbles, and she knows what they are. Suddenly, Miharu sees them and continues chasing her to the roof, but this time they are seen by Miharu and Kiri, who follow her as well. On the roof, the girls apologize to Miharu, but she smiles and tells them that she was chasing them for fun and asks them to have fun too, but don't forget to look for her husband. At night, Miharu say goodbye since the redhead must return to Saren before the portal closes, and also because she wants to find out what Hijiri is doing on Earth. Before leaving, Miharu thanks Kiri and Yukinari for taking such good care of her sister, and then jumps into the bathtub. Days later, Kiri asks Miharu about the marks on her forehead, but she doesn't know why she has it since she was born with it. Kiri thinks that when Miharu's marks disappear, something will happen. For example, she might stop being the sweet girl that she is and would hit Yukinari every time he sees her without clothes. While Tomo thinks that when the marks disappear, the real Miharu will come to light, an evil Miharu willing to poison Yukinari. The two girls try to cover up Miharu's marks, but nothing happens, and they only make the pink-haired girl cry. After that, they ask Koyomi, and she tells them that her mother had a mark on her forehead too, but suddenly she sees a man pass by on the news and thinks it's her father. She runs to her room and looks for the photo of her family where a man similar to the one on TV is holding her. Then Koyomi remembers that once she asked her mom about her father, and she told her that he had to return to Earth because her mark was weakened, since the sacred mark on the forehead can unite you with your soulmate and open the passage between the two worlds. As hers lost its shine, her husband had to stay forever on Earth. Koyomi decides to go look for her father in the shopping district, and the others follow her secretly, even though they have no idea who she's looking for. But they think it is someone very important to her since they see Koyomi asking all kinds of people if they have seen the man in the photo. She is so desperate that she even asks men. While they are hiding, Fukuyama and Lisa appear saying that they will solve the mystery, but in reality it is Hayate and Koseim who find out everything about Koyomi's life in minutes. After Lisa reads to them the sad separation of Koyomi and her father, they are willing to help her friend since she feels defeated and useless for not being able to find him. Then Miharu and the others tell Koyomi that they are her friends and she can rely on them, which makes her tear up. Throughout the day, Koyomi's friends search for her father, but none of them could find him. Suddenly, Fukuyama and Tomo appear saying that they were busy planning how to find Kiyomi's father and now everything is ready. Then all the TVs in the city air a segment that he and Tomoka recorded, where they talk about Koyomi's sad story and Fukuyama urges Koyomi's father to appear so that he can meet his beautiful daughter, and not only that, he promises to reward to anyone who has information about him. Unfortunately, this is not seen by Koyomi's father, as he lies unconscious in his apartment while Ms. Hajiri communicates with someone unknown with silver hair. Days later, Kiri and Yukinari wonder what Miharu does after school since she always goes somewhere else alone. What they don't know is that Miharu has been working for days at the vegetable store part-time to get money to buy everyone gifts. Today was her last day at work, so she goes around the shopping district looking for special gifts for all of her friends. She thinks of each one every time she buys a gift, and lastly, she buys Yukinari a picture frame. Meanwhile, all hell broke loose at Yukinari's house since Fukuyama, Lisa, and her bodyguards are more unbearable than ever. Fukuyama does not stop chasing Koyomi. Lisa to Yukinari. Kosei to Kiri, and even Haye and Tomo resume their duel from last time. On the other hand, Kiri tries to help Koyomi while she gets Kosei off her, but they all end up falling down the stairs onto Yukinari. Suddenly, he realizes that there is something different about him. Even though he has the girls on him, he didn't break out in hives. Then all the girls touch his cheek, hands, and arm to make sure that he is cured, and happily, this is the case. Later, when Miara returns, she finds them at a party organized by Lisa, while all the girls don't stop touching and hugging Yukinari, and that makes her a little sad, so she goes up to her room with the gifts. She tries to convince herself that she should be happy for Yukinari, but the feeling of sadness prevails since now she is no longer special to him. Before she was the only one who could hug him, but now any girl will be special to him, like Lisa and Kiri, who are in love with him. Without realizing it, tears begin to fall on the photo frame that she bought him. Suddenly, Miss Hajiri enters her room and hypnotizes Miharu. She tells her that it is time to return to Saren, and since Miharu's heart is broken, she does not resist and just repeats that she is no longer important to Yukinari. Where the bathtub begins to glow and Mijiri takes her to Saren. After that, Yukinari realizes that Miharu is taking a long time and leaves saying that Miharu is the most important person to him and he wants to be with her. When Miharu wakes up, she finds herself trapped in a water bubble while Hajiri and the silver-haired girl continue with their plan. On the other hand, at Yukinari's house, everyone is looking for Miharu but cannot find her, and Fukuyama confesses to them that there is a way to find out where she is. It turns out that he has satellite cameras installed to spy on them and asks Lilica to bring her computer to find out the truth. When they see the recording, they realize that perhaps Miharu has returned to Saren. Although they do not understand why, but they soon see that there was someone else in the house, Ms. Hajiri. Suddenly, Koyomi realizes that she saw Ms. Hajiri with some silver marbles at the school festival, and Tomo runs to her room to look for her badge and is shocked to see that the aqua lamps are not there and that could leave them on Earth forever. They hug each other crying, and Yukinari asks them to explain what happened. Then Koyomi tells them that the Special Forces are a section of the Space Administration Bureau. They are in charge of punishing illegal immigration. Hajiri must have taken Miharu because of the mark on her forehead since she opens an illegal passage between Saren and the Earth using water. Yukinari can't believe what happened and is left without knowing what to do, which makes Fukuyama mad, and he leaves angrily saying that he will solve this and puts all his maids to work and find a way to go to Saren. Then Kirin wakes up Yukinari, but he gets desperate because he doesn't know how to remedy this and leaves the house. He goes through all the places where he was with Minaru and can't help crying when he remembers her, until he runs into a guy who advises him that before crying he should try to solve what's bothering him. And if after trying nothing works, then he can cry. Incredibly, this advice encourages Yukinari and he returns to his house and talks to the bathtub as if it were Minaru. He lists all of her qualities and vows to go to Saren to look for her. This is heard by Kiri, who tells him that she knows that he will manage to find her. Even Fukuyama brings all of his maids and a large technological equipment to put in the bathtub and discover where the passage between Saren and the Earth is. Meanwhile, in Saren, Miharu and Nane hide from the Special Forces and use an aqua lamp to communicate with Earth. Miharu and Nane quickly tell them that Miharu has been captured by the Special Forces and that the only way to open the passage is for Koyomi to awaken her powers, since Nane believes that perhaps she inherited that power from her mother, and she asks her heart and her parents to help her. At that moment, her forehead begins to glow and a mark appears on her forehead, which immediately wakes up her father, who is still hypnotized in his apartment. Yukinari's bathtub starts to glow and Koyomi asks them to hurry as she won't be able to keep the gate open for long, so they all head to Saren. When they open their eyes, they can't believe that instead of being in Miharu's bathtub, they ended up in a large spa pool. Immediately, all the women are fascinated by Yukinari and Fukuyama, so the blonde decides to sacrifice himself and stays distracting all the women while the others run to the Space Administration Bureau. But on the way, Tomo gets lost and has to check the map, and soon realizes that they have fallen into a trap. Kiri does it and runs into a super adorable plush bear. Tomo immediately eliminates it with her powers and warns them to be careful because those bears are very dangerous. Suddenly, a herd of cute bears appears and Lisa uses her magic to grow a giant tree so they can escape, but Tomo fails to grab one of the branches because she was carrying Ebi in her arms. Then the cute shrimp sacrifices itself and gets out of Tomo's arms so that she can escape. Seeing that Ebi will face the herd of bears alone, Lisa also sacrifices herself and jumps to defend it with her magic. After that, Tomo, Kiri, and Yukinari arrive at the Space Administration Bureau and Tomo falls into a sticky trap and only Kiri and Yukinari can continue. Inside, Hijiri appears with a hypnotized army, but fortunately Maharu does not get hypnotized and begins to knock out the girls. Then Kiri decides to stay to help Maharu and asks Yukinari to continue searching for Maharu. Meanwhile, on Earth, Koyomi is tired of keeping the gate open and Kosen helps her resist, but suddenly, Koyomi's father enters but his eyes show that he is also hypnotized and begins to attack Lisa's bodyguards, who had the task of protecting Koyomi. Back in Siren, Yukinari finally reaches where Miharu is trapped and demands that the silver-haired girl free her, but she attacks him with her water power and reveals her identity. She is Yukina, the most powerful person in Siren. She rules the planet since she was born with many sacred marks on her body, but she cannot touch any man because she breaks out in hives, and that is why she decided to expel all men from Siren. She wants the power of Miharu's mark and is willing to do anything to get it, even if it means eliminating Yukinari. Miharu gets desperate and says that she will give her whatever she wants, but Yukina must leave Yukinari alone, but the silver-haired girl does not listen to her. Meanwhile, Kiri and Miharu continue fighting Hijiri and her girls, and she reveals that her plan is to be with Miharu, and that's why she partnered with Yukina. When Hijiri is about to give the final blow to Kiri, Fukuyama appears and takes the blow for her, but he is not alone. He came with all the girls he met in Siren, and now they knows how to fight, and they join the fight with Miharu and Tomo. Kiri recovers and is the one who knocks out Hijiri, and automatically everyone's hypnotization ends. Even Koyomi's father returns to normal. Meanwhile, Yukinari resists Yukina's attacks, and he tells her that she can also look for the man of her life. But Yukina is insecure about her body and repeats that she cannot touch men because of her hives, but says that she can touch them. She's just afraid, and he assures her that if she opens her arms and her heart, she will soon find love, just as he found Miharu. This makes Miharu very happy, so much so that her forehead begins to glow and breaks the water prison she was in. Sometime later on Earth, Miharu goes to wake up Yukinari and finds Yukina hugging him until he turns blue. Yukinari is not the only one who has problems. Hijiri is now in love with Kiri and does not stop pursuing her. The one who is having a good time is Koyomi, who recovered her father, and Miharu, who constantly goes to Earth to look for a husband since the gate now remains open. Despite all the chaos the girls cause in his life, Yukinari wouldn't trade them for anything.